We continue with mantra 7. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yasmin Sarvani Bhutani Atmaivad Bhut Vijanata Tatra Komo Akasoka Ekatvam Anupashyata. So, word for word translation. Yasmin, in the situation, Sarvani, all, Bhutani, living entities, Atma, the Shitkan or spiritual spark, Eva, only, Adbhut, exist as, Vijanata, of one who knows, Tatra, therein, Kaha, what, Moha, illusion, Ka, what, Shoka, anxiety, Ekatvam, oneness in quality, Anupashyata, of one who sees through authority, or one who sees constantly like that. Translation. One who always sees all living entities as spiritual sparks, in quality one with the Lord, becomes a true knower of things. Then what can be illusion or anxiety? What can be illusion or anxiety for him? Now the purport. We have 5 paragraphs, 6 paragraphs. We will read only the first 3 to start with. Someone wants to read the first paragraph, please?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Harshita Mataji, please go on.
Mataji, you can read, I think.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj. Except for the Madhyam Adhikari and Uttam Adhikari discussed above, no one can correctly see the spiritual position of a living being. The living entities are qualitatively one with the Supreme Lord, just as the sparks of a fire are qualitatively one with the fire. Yet, sparks are not fire as far as the quantity is concerned, for the quantity of heat and light present in the sparks is not equal to that in fire. The Mahabhagavata, the great devotee, sees oneness in the sense that he sees everything as the energy of the Supreme Lord. Since there is no difference between the energy and energetic, there is a sense of oneness. Although from the analytical point of view, heat and light are different from fire, there is no meaning to the word fire without heat and light. In synthesis, therefore, heat, light, and fire are the same.
Yeah. Someone else want to read the second paragraph?
In this mantra, the words Ekatvam Anupashyata indicate that one should see the unity of all living entities from the viewpoint of revealed scriptures. The individual sparks of the Supreme Whole, the Lord, possess almost 80% of the known qualities of the whole, but they are not quantitatively equal to the Supreme Lord. These qualities are present in minute quantity, for the living entity is but a minute part and parcel of the Supreme Whole. To use another example, the quantity of salt present in a drop is never comparable to the quantity of salt present in the complete ocean, but the salt present in the drop is qualitatively equal in chemical composition to all the salt present in the ocean. If the individual living being were equal to the Supreme Lord, both qualitatively and quantitatively, there would be no question of his being under the influence of the material energy. In the previous mantras, it has already been discussed that no living being, not even the powerful demigods, can surpass the Supreme Being in any respect. Therefore, Ekatvam does not mean that a living being is equal in all respects to the Supreme Lord. It does, however, indicate that in a broader sense there is one interest, just as in a family the interest of all members is one, or in a nation the national interest is one, although there are many different individual citizens. Since the living entities are all members of the same supreme family, their interest and that of the supreme being are not different. Every living being is the son of the supreme being. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.5, all living creatures throughout the universe, including birds, reptiles, ants, aquatics, trees, and so on, are emanations of the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, all of them belong to the family of the Supreme Being. There is no clash of interest.
The spiritual entities are meant for enjoyment, as stated in Vedanta Sutra 1112, Ananda Mayabhyasat. By nature and constitution, every living being, including the Supreme Lord and each of his parts and parcels, is meant for eternal enjoyment. The living beings who are engaged in the material tabernacle are constantly seeking enjoyment, but they are seeking it on the wrong platform. Apart from the material platform is the spiritual platform, where the Supreme Being enjoys himself with his innumerable associates. On that platform there is no trace of material qualities, and therefore that platform is called Nirguna. On the Nirguna platform there is never a clash over the object of enjoyment. Here in the material world there is always a clash between the individual living beings because the proper center of enjoyment is missed. The real center of enjoyment is the Supreme Lord, who is the center of the sublime and spiritual rasa dance. We are all meant to join him and enjoy life with one transcendental interest and without any clash. That is the highest platform of spiritual interest, and as soon as one realizes this perfect form of oneness, there can be no question of illusion, moha, or lamentation. Soka. Now we'll discuss the first 3 paragraphs of this mantra. So we are mantra 7. First develop spiritual vision by seeing worldly things, events and people with equanimity. So this was mantra 7, which we discussed. We read the first 3 paragraphs. The 4th paragraph builds further on the previous one and says, if there is not that oneness in interest, so if Krishna is not the oneness in interest, separate interest causes shoka and moha, suffering and illusion. So, what's the message of the mantra? We should become one in interest with God. That's the point. So we should create this ekatvam, realizing that we are oneness in quality and subordination in quantity. That's interesting. We are one in quality. Krishna is Satchidananda. We are Satchidananda. The soul is eternal. Krishna is eternal. Krishna is full of bliss and knowledge, and we are also full of bliss and knowledge, but that's now covered by the material energy. But if we realize, and because it's covered, we forget this oneness. But if by purification of the heart this knowledge is uncovered, then we become detached to this material world. We realize we have nothing to do with this material world. I went to so many lifetimes, had so many families, so many discussions, so many conflicts in thousands of lifetimes. Do I still remember them? No. So why am I so attached now to the situation now? It's ridiculous. that it's all temporary, fleeting like time. So one becomes attached and attached to Krishna, who is eternally our friend. And subordination in quantity, yes, we understand that Krishna is the controller, is a maintainer of everyone, and he's a real protector of everyone. So I'm under control of Krishna. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter. There are two kinds of living beings, he says. The fallible and the infallible. But then Krishna says, beyond the fallible and infallible, I'm above them. I'm controlling the fallible and the infallible. So we are always controlled by Krishna. In the material world, the spiritual world. But in the material world, we are controlled to the material energy. In the spiritual world, to the spiritual energy. In the spiritual world, we have much more freedom. But if we understand that everything is controlled by Krishna. Mayatrakshana Pragati Suchi Chachacham. Everything is controlled by Krishna. He is the superintendent of material nature. Then one becomes humble. Humility comes. One understands Krishna is my only maintainer, my only protector. And one becomes subordinate to the Supreme Lord. So this is explained in the first paragraph. Bhagavan as his Shaktis. So Krishna is a Shakti man. He's controlling all his energies. And Bhagavan and his Shakti is like fire and light. When there is fire, there must be light. Or when there is fire, we heard before, there must be burning. You cannot separate it. It's, yeah. So, in the sun you have sun god, that's Krishna. Yeah. And you have his energy, the radiance. The fiery radiance around the orbit of the sun is Antaranga Shakti, is eternal energy. But its rays are tatasta. It's marginal. And the sun's reflection is Bahiranga Shakti. This material world is Bahiranga. And the spiritual world is Antaranga. One has not just unity in diversity, but diversity in unity. That's interesting. And the example is given in the Rasa dance. So all the gopis were united in love with Krishna, but each gopi had different opinions and different modes, but all in conjugal love. There is diversity in the unity also. Prabhupada wanted to discuss that always, every year, unity in diversity, how to apply it in our lives and in our movement. This is another metaphor. You can't neglect the flow aspect. So that's interesting. The Lord's perspective, and then we will hear Queen Kunti giving us the devotees' perspective. We will first hear the Lord's perspective here. We go to the Vedabase. These verses are interesting, but I want to bring them on the screen. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 29, 11. It's 29:11, huh? 29, 11, 12 it says here. Yeah. The manifestation of unadulterated devotional service is exhibited when one's mind is at once attracted to the hearing, the transcendental name and qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is residing in everyone's heart. Just as the water of the Ganges flows naturally down towards the ocean, such devotional ecstasy, uninterrupted by any material condition, flows toward the Supreme Lord. That's I'm not sure that's not Kapila Dev probably would speaks this verse, but let's hear the perspective now of Devahuti, the first of Queen Kunti. 42. Yeah, that's the same. That it is the same subject. Faimenanya Vishyamatirmatu Patesa Ketratvan Utvadara Daganga Dambati. The beautiful prayer. A lot of Madhuras, the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance. Let my attraction be constantly drawn to you, without being diverted to anyone else. That's really a great prayer. That's the perspective of the devotee. The devotee wants always his consciousness connected with Krishna. And the other was the vision of the Lord Kapila Dev, who says the same thing. My devotee should always be, his consciousness should be drawn to me. So yes, let's go back to our slides. Here. So not merging but meeting. Can't neglect the flow aspect. So yes, Krishna has his energies, but we want through his energies always be connected with Krishna. We want to connect our consciousness with Krishna. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments on this purport of this verse of Queen Kunti. A devotee holds nothing back, and nothing holds a devotee back. So these are two principles. That we don't hold anything back. We surrender everything to Krishna. Our consciousness, our life, our body, mind, words, everything. And nothing will stop us doing that. Nothing holds the devotee back. So that is the mood of a pure devotee. But now we have here when the object is material and our vision is material. What means material vision? Material vision means for my enjoyment, or for my family's enjoyment, or for the nation enjoyment, for the benefit of these people, of that so that's material vision. One sees the objects as material objects of enjoyment. Then it goes as bondage. One gets karma, and we become more and more entangled and attracted to the material world. So when the object is material, but our vision is spiritual, we understand that everything belongs to Krishna. Although it's material, we can use it for Krishna. Then we become purified. So Srila Prabhupada, when he was in America, he saw a flatbed truck, and he was thinking, oh, we could use that for Ratha Yatra. So he saw it always in connection with Krishna. So that's purifying. When the object is spiritual, like the deity, but the vision is material, we think, oh, it's just a statue. That's offensive then. Like deity worship becomes idolatry and so on. But when the object is spiritual and we see we see spiritually, we become purified, we feel ecstasy. We see the deity as Krishna. So different levels of consciousness. We must try to be situated at this highest consciousness. Seeing everything as the energy of Krishna. So that was mantra 7. Any comments or questions? Good. There are no questions. We continue tomorrow with mantra 8, finishing the section, and start the next section. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Jai Prabhupada.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare
Hare Bol.
Krishna.